December 1895, a brutal nor'easter was barreling down on the Montana frontier, and Harlan Whitaker knew his herd wouldn't last another hour in the whipping winds. 30 years of wrangling cattle had honed his instincts sharp as a branding iron, and tonight the sky screamed trouble. He was mending a busted fence when he spotted a teenage girl, no more than 16, slumped against a weathered pine on his ranch's boundary. Her skirt was ripped, her auburn hair crusted with dirt and blood, and she gripped a crumpled stagecoach ticket to Billings, stamped 4 days prior. Harlan had lost his daughter to a fever during the Civil War and vowed never to let anyone lean on him again. For 3 decades, he'd honored that oath, living solo on his spread. The sensible move was to saddle up for town, grab the marshal, and wash his hands of it. But the storm was closing in fast. In an hour, it'd be a whiteout, and by dawn, she'd be frozen stiff. Harlan swung down from his horse and crouched beside her, his calloused hands trembling not from the chill, but from the burden of a choice that could upend his quiet life. What cost would saving a stranger exact? "Miss, you hear me?" Her eyes fluttered open, dazed and feverish. When she saw his grizzled face, she recoiled weakly, but her limbs betrayed her. "Easy there," Harlan murmured, his tone softer than it had been since burying his girl. "You're banged up bad." "Don't," she rasped. "Please don't send me back." Harlan scooped her up gently, stunned by how feather-light she felt, how breakable. In his cabin, he settled her on the cot that had been his daughter's, untouched for 30 years. As he wiped the grime from her face, the bruises emerged faded, ones yellowed like old parchment, fresh ones blooming purple. This wasn't a one-time beating. Someone had been tormenting her for months, maybe years. "What's your name?" "Lily Beaumont," she whispered, like admitting a sin. Harlan paused. "Beaumont?" He knew that surname Victor Beaumont owned the livery stable in Silver Creek, a spineless drunk who gambled away his wages. But this girl didn't favor Victor. "Victor Beaumont's your kin?" Lily's expression turned guarded, not puzzled but calculated. "My stepfather. After Ma passed, he called me his duty." The way she spat duty made Harlan's gut twist. While Lily dozed, Harlan eyed the stagecoach ticket. Billings one way. Then he found a folded note in her pocket. He shouldn't pry, but with the gale howling outside, if trouble was trailing her, he needed the lay of the land. The letter was from Barnum's traveling Circusa contract for one Lily Beaumont, orphan performer, age 16. The details curdled his blood. She wasn't fleeing just Victor. She was escaping bondage. The circus had purchased her from her stepfather for $40. When Lily stirred around midnight, Harlan sat by the hearth, the letter laid out plain. "How long?" he asked. 5 months, she breathed. He told him I was raised by outlaws, made me act in the Outlaw Bride skit every show. Harlan recalled seeing Barnum's troupe once. He remembered the damsel routine, a girl in rags chained to a post, rescued by heroes while the crowd roared. The march from the axe, and from Victor before he sold me. Lily drew the quilt close. I bolted 4 days back, swiped cash for the coach fare. But the stage hit a rut 10 miles out, and I've been trudging since. Beyond the walls, the storm raged like a beast. Victor figures you're gone for good. I pray he does, if he learns I'm breathing. She trailed off. Harlan peered out the frosted pane into the blinding swirl. No soul could track in this mess for now, they were secure. But blizzards fade. The tempest battered on for 4 days. On the 5th dawn, Harlan roused to eerie quiet and blue skies and the thunder of hooves. Victor Beaumont rode up with his sidekick, Chet Larson, both swaddled in wool. Trailing them, Marshal Elias Ford and 2 deputies, their stars glinting in the sun. Harlan stepped onto his porch, rifle cradled loosely. "Harlan," Marshal Ford boomed, "we got to chat about that girl you're sheltering." "What girl?" Victor claims his stepdaughter lit out, says she might be unhinged, a risk. Victor avoided Harlan's gaze, his hands jittery from more than frostbite. "She's not here," Harlan bluffed. Ford smirked coldly. "Mind if we poke around?" From the cabin, Lily peeked out, spotting Victor and blanching like a ghost. Her terror spoke volumes about his cruelties. "She's staying put," Harlan said low. The words crackled in the crisp air. Ford's palm hovered near his holster. "Come on, Harlan, be smart. She belongs with Kin." Victor's fretting fiercely. "Kin?" Harlan's jaw set. "You mean the fella who hawks kids to circus outfits?" Victor's composure cracked. "You don't get it. After her ma died, I was buried in loans." The railroad boys squeezed hard. Lily was just property, Harlan snarled. Ford advanced. "That's plenty. Victor Beaumont's a solid citizen in Silver Creek. Whatever yarns this girl's spinning, she's cracked. The circus folks pegged her as trouble from jump. The circus folks you on their payroll?" Ford's eyes slit. "Watch your tongue. That's a libel." But Harlan had witnessed enough graft in the war to spot it here. Ford wasn't upholding the law. He was mopping up for power brokers. "Lily's with me till spring," Harlan declared. "Then she chooses. Can't permit that." Ford drew slick. "She's leaving now." That's when Chet Larson flipped the script. "Drop it, Elias." The hired gun had his piece out, trained not on Harlan, but the marshal. "I've seen Victor's handiwork on that kid. Heard her sobs through the boards. She ain't returning." Ford flushed crimson. "You're digging deep, Chet. A grave mistake." "Maybe, but I'm done with petty ones." The deadlock tightened. 5 gunslingers, triggers itchy, each eyeing the next twitch. Then Victor shattered. "Halt!" He tumbled from his mount, tears carving paths down his cheeks. 30 years of rot erupting. "I sold her," he wailed. "Lord, forgive me. I traded her like a mule." Marshal Ford's aim dipped. This veered off his playbook. "Victor, come up." "No." Victor met Harlan's stare, eyes bloodshot with remorse. "You wouldn't know my measure? After my wife went, Lily was my everything. She was 11, gazed at me like I hung the moon." The confession gushed unchecked. "But debt drowned me. Railroad tycoons held my note, demanded payment. Lily blossomed, pretty as her ma, and my thoughts turned foul." Harlan's stomach roiled. "So when the circus rolled in, offering cash for a girl to play outlaw Kin, I convinced myself it beat the alternative beat what I'd do if she lingered." Chet holstered, revolted. Even the deputies shifted uneasily. "That's not the nadir," Victor pressed, voice fracturing. "When she escaped, she came home. I was relieved. God strike me, relieved 'cause I'd missed her. But terrified too the truth would out." Marshal Ford reholstered. The mess had mushroomed beyond salvage. "Victor, but I gotta own my sins." Victor rose unsteadily. "Lily? Lily, honey, I know you're listening." From the threshold, Lily emerged, face ashen but firm. "I'm sorry," Victor murmured. "So damn sorry." Lily eyed the man who'd shattered her youth, who'd bartered her for $40 and fleeting peace. When she spoke, her voice held steady. "I believe you are, but sorrow doesn't restore what's stolen." Victor nodded, grasping. From his vest, he drew a worn pouch's nest egg, perhaps $150. "Ain't near enough," he said, thrusting it at Harlan. "Never will be, but it's mine." Then he snatched Ford's cuffs, snapping them on himself. "I admit to selling Lily Beaumont to Barnum Circus, breaking federal peonage laws. I admit." His timbre cracked. "I admit to botching fatherhood every which way." Marshal Ford gaped. "Victor, you fool the feds, the probe. They'll uncover precisely what I spill." Victor glanced back at Lily once more. "Maybe bars will teach me to bear my load." But as Ford grabbed the reins to haul Victor off, the wrecked man clutched his breast and collapsed heavily in the drifts. The toll of guilt, booze, and disgrace had cashed its due. Chet knelt, felt for a beat, then shook his head. His heart gave out. He said soft. Lily lingered in the doorway, watching her tormentors end in the snow. She felt hollow no triumph, no balm, just a void where rage once festered. Ford surveyed the tableau. A corpse, a fugitive girl, a defiant rancher, a turncoat hand. His payoffs would surface later, but now he faced fallout. This never occurred, he grated. Victor Beaumont perished from natural causes while hunting his wayward stepdaughter. Everyone clear? It wasn't righteousness, but the nearest they'd snag. As the posse departed with Victor's remains, Chet neared Harlan. "She can't bunk here long-term," he muttered. "Tongues a wag." Harlan knew it was truly a 16-year-old with a lone widower would tarnish them both. Yet Lily had no refuge. "My aunt keeps a rooming house in Billings," Chet offered like mind-reading. Upright spot. Lily could board, pull her weight. Lily advanced. "I'll fund my ride." She brandished Victor's pouch. "'Tain't a coin, but it cashes fine." Harlan regarded the girl who'd thawed his iced-over heart in 4 days. But Chet had the right. Spring thawed early in Montana that year. By April, the slush receded for trails, and Lily Beaumont bundled her scant gear into a valise from Harlan's late wife. The stage to Billings rolled from Silver Creek at midday. Harlan wagoned her there, words sparse on what those months signified. She'd aided with lambing, rustled suppers that warmed his shack like forgotten sunshine, and evenings she'd listen as he recited from his daughter's primers, both feigning eternity. But eternity mocked them. At the depot, Lily faced him in the mild glow. She looked wiser than 16, forged in fire. "Will you pen letters?" "If you wish." "I do." She fished from her sack a paper-wrapped parcel. "For you." Within, a tintype of Lily by his corral, tossing oats to his gelding. She'd commissioned it in town, dipping into her funds. Verso, in neat hand, to Harlan Whitaker, who taught me a father's true face. L.B. April 1896. The stage horn blared. Lily tiptoed, pecked his rough cheek, then boarded without a backward glance. Harlan watched the coach vanish into the sprawling Montana flats, bearing away the sole kin he'd claimed since his daughter's grave 30 years past. That eve, he sat solitary in his cabin, studying the image. Outside, breezes murmured over the greening range, hinting at another harsh season. But for the first time in ages, Harlan Whitaker didn't dread solitude. He'd rescued one soul and reclaimed his own purpose. Some folks chase atonement their whole days. Sometimes it hunts them down. What do you think about the tough choices in this tale? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Share your stance on forgiveness, justice, or second chances. I'd love to hear your views.